In this session, we're going to learn how to solve a trigonometric equations. How to solve trig, trig equations, which is the same thing as find x or find theta, whatever, find that variable. Okay. Sometimes we might use calculator, but sometimes we really don't. And if you, in this case, usually when you find the angle, the answer is the angle, then we keep that in the radians and keep two decimal places. That's pretty much the general rule of it. Now let's work on the first one. I just ask you to solve for x. Okay, so everything I just use x. Of course, some book they use a theta, they use whatever other variables. So let me see. The first one is 2 cosine theta equals 1. Let me just put x. See? All right, 2 cosine x equals 1. How do you solve it? We need to find what is the cosine x. We divide it by 2. That is 1/2. Now, here's the problem. There's so many angles. If you remember the cosine function, it looks like this, right? Okay, and the cosine x is 1/2. It's somewhere here. Did you notice that you get so many different solutions that will make your cosine to be 1/2? And the first answer is what? First answer, cosine to be 1/2, which is a 60 degree, right? Or pi over 3. Okay. Okay, so here's 1/2. So this angle, first of all, that give you the cosine equals 1/2. And also if you go down here, that also give you the cosine as 1/2. So between 0 and the 2 pi, you actually already have two solutions. So which is pi over 3, or this one is, or you can call that 5 pi over 3 or negative pi over 3. So basically your answer will be anything starting from here, go up or down by pi over 3. So my x will be anything from here, we call that 2n pi. Okay, 2n pi, that means when n is a integer, plus minus pi over 3. Okay, so this is your answer. So any angle, as long as it's 2n pi plus or minus pi over 3, I get my cosine value to be 1/2. If I ask you to solve it, and given that x is on the interval from 0 to 2 pi, usually they go from 0 to 2 pi because they don't close here, so it's not like there's no repeat here. So 0 to 2 pi just means in one cycle, and what is your solution? And they just give me the solution. If I tell you that x is in here, or x is in this interval, or x is on this interval, then your answer will be what? Will be pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. And that's your two solutions. If I didn't mention the specific interval, then you should give me this answer. So that's a little thing that you have to pay attention to. Okay, next one, cosine x equals 0.4. Well, we're not familiar with the 0.4, so and let me put this. So x is between 0 and 2 pi. So that means just within one circle. So cosine x equals 0.4. And then if you're looking for x, you should use the calculator, and you should use this. The light is there. Did you see that you only have a cosine here? So you click this second, and you get a cosine inverse. So you do 0.4 and then cosine inverse of it equal. Again, I'm using radian right now. Did you see the degree here, which means that I'm not using it? This is interesting. This is whatever you see here means you're not using it. Okay, so radian. Excuse me. So my x is going to be 1.16. My x equals 1.16. But this 1.16, again, it's only It's only here. It's only here. So you do have another solution, right, between 0 and 2 pi. The other one is 2 pi. The other one is 2 pi minus 1.16, right? So it goes from 2 pi and subtract that much. And the pi you can just use in your calculator. Did you see pi here? Yeah. So 2 pi minus 1.16. So 2 pi minus, you get a 5.12. It's a 5.12. So your answer is 1.16 and 5.12. That's your two solutions for this case. When I ask you the cosine x equals 0.4, find x. That's it. Okay, so number 3, solve for tangent 2x equals root 3. And I give you this x has to be between 0 and 2 pi. Now, always, if you have this question like this, if you have an x in this interval, then 2x, we just double that. I need to get the answer, not the answer, I need to double that, which means this angle get to be between 0 and 4 pi. So which means we're going to go like this much, right? Okay, so you have multiple solutions. And the tangent is square root of 3. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4. You should have 4 solutions for this case. Now for tangent, for the first, between 0 and 2 pi in the first quadrant, tangent equals root 3. So the first solution is what? Is pi over 3. Okay, or keep going. So that will be pi plus pi over 3, right? You go from here to here, you go pi, and then you go 2 pi plus pi over 3, and then one more. So 3 pi plus pi over 3. So these are the 2x. So you just need to divide it by 2. So my x will be pi over 6. And this is a 4 pi over 3. So that will be 4 pi over 3 divided by 2 will be 2 pi over 3. And this one, 2 pi plus a third, this is a 6 over 3. So it's going to be 7 over 3. Half of that will be 7 pi over 6. And this is a 3 pi, which is a 9 over 3. Plus 1/3 is a 10 over 3. Half of that is a 5 pi over 3. So that is the solution. You actually have 4 answers to this question. So this is a 1, 2, 3. And let me give you the fourth one, number 4. 4 sine 3x equals 3. Okay. Again, I said, do this. Find the smallest 3 positive solutions for that. So let me do this. Sine 3x equals 3 over 4. Or you can just write 0.75. All right, now let's take the sine inverse. Sine inverse 0.75 equals, let's see, that's your 3x, right? The first, the smallest one. Hold on. Okay. Sine inverse negative 0, oh, sorry, it just 0.75 sine inverse equal. So I got a 0.85. Okay, actually it's 0.848. Let me just write that for my side. So I need to look for the smallest 3 positive solutions, which means I need to get the first solution. Okay, so for sine is 4/3, which is here. Okay, And then what it will be the next one? The next one will be pi minus that. So see, this is 0.85. So what is this? That the second of the 3x will be pi minus 0.85, right? Okay, so that's the first solution, and here's the second solution, and then here will be the third solution. So the 3x, again, will get 2 pi plus 0.85. So far, those are the three smallest solutions for 3x. So if you divide it by 3, then your x will be, okay, you probably want to keep this 0.848 divided by 3. So you get a 0.28. Okay, and the next one is pi minus. So pi minus 0.848. So you have pi minus that divided by 3, get a 0.76. And here you go 2 pi, I don't know, 2 pi, you just put 2, press 2 and then pi, 2 pi plus 0.848. So you get that divided by 3. So you get a 2.38. That would be your smallest 3 positive solutions for this number 4. Okay. Shall we continue? All right, so let me continue to solve. 5 sine x equals 3 sine x plus root 3. Again, I want all my x between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, so if I do this, 5 sine x equals 3 sine x plus root 3. I just move everything with x to one side, or I subtract this by both sides. 5 minus 3. So I get a 2 sine x equals root 3. Therefore, my sine x becomes root 3 over 2. So what is that? Root 3 over 2 sine x. Okay. Here's the 60 or pi over 3, and the other one, right? So either here or here. So my x either pi over 3 or 2 pi over 3. So that's my solutions. So this is the number 5. Let me see okay. So let me do number 6. Can you solve for this? Secant 2x equals root 2. And I give you this is x has to be between negative pi and positive pi. If you have something look like this, first of all, you find the range for 2x. So that will be 2 pi and negative 2 pi. So you need to find this angle of 2x. That's from here to here, and also from here to here. So that's like 2 cycles. And the secant is 1 over cosine. So secant, from secant 2x, you get a cosine 2x equals the reciprocal of that, which is root 2 over 2. If you have a cosine is root 2 over 2, cosine root 2 over 2, you know, is a 45 degree and a negative 45 degree. So 2x equals either pi over 4 or negative pi over 4. Okay, so that's here, and also you have this, so that will be 7 pi over 4 and a negative 7 pi over 4. Okay, so you have 4 solutions, and then that's your x will be pi over 8, negative pi over 8, 7 pi over 8, negative 7 pi over 8. You have 4 solutions for this one. Pi. So that's my number 6. Okay, so let's do more. Number 7. Number 7, let's do this. Sine x tangent x equals sine x. Again, I put an x between, my x has to be between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, so if you have something like this, let's move everything to one side. So I have sine x tangent x minus sine x equals 0. You cannot just simply divide it by sine x on both sides. When you solve the equation, you can multiply by or divide it by the same non-zero amount from both sides, and you still get an equation. But this time, we don't really know, so we'd better just go ahead and solve it. So I factor sine x, and inside I have a tangent x minus 1 equals 0. So we factor that. Once you factor that, you either get sine x equals 0, or you get a tangent x minus 1 equals 0, right? Because a plus b equals 0, either a is 0 or b is 0. Now, sine x equals 0. When x is between 0 and pi, my x will be either 0 or pi. And tangent x equals 1. So that's like a 45-degree thing. So that will be here, that will be pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. So those are the two solutions for that, two solutions for this. So my question in this case, I have these 4 solutions. That's good. Okay. So let me do one more. Okay, solve for x, and I give you cosine 2x plus sine x equals 0. Again, just to make the life easier, I always go, most of the time, I always say x is between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, so cosine plus that. This is a double angle formula, right? And I need the double angle formula for cosine. Remember, there are 3 of them. Cosine square minus the sine square, and 1 minus 2 sine square, or 2 cosine square minus 1. So in this case, I'm going to use the sine because here is the sine. So 1 minus 2 sine square x, that's that, and then plus the sine x equals 1. Okay, so did you notice that we have some square, some first term, and if you let sine x equals m, I just use a different letter because I don't want to bring that sign with me all the time. So that becomes 1 minus 2m squared plus m, I'm sorry, here it's a 0, equals 0. Or I change the sign, and multiply by -1, I get a 2m squared minus m minus 1 equals 0. Can you factor this? Yeah, 2m, you get a 2m and a 1m. So these two terms get to multiply, you get a -1, so one positive one, another -1. But because here it's going to be negative, so I put a -1 and a +1 equals 0. And then you can go ahead and do that. Very similar that if you keep using sine x, instead of changing that to m, you should get exactly the same thing here. And then let me just write it. It's going to be 2 sine x plus 1 and sine x minus 1 equals 0. So you are factoring this quadratic term. It's not really quadratic because it's a sine x instead of x. But if I use m as the substitution for that, then I get an exactly good quadratic form, and then I can factor that. Okay, now the next step is going to be very easy. Sine x is going to be -1/2, and here sine x equals 1. All right, for x between 0 and 2 pi, sine x is -1/2. Sine x is -1/2. So my x is going to be like a 100-degree plus a 30. So that will be 7 pi over 6, or 11 pi over 6. That's where you get the sine as a -1/2. And the sine x equals 1, there's only one solution, which is pi over 2 in that interval. Okay, so this is number 8. Let me do two more. So number 9. Number 9 is interesting. I ask you, sine 5x cosine x minus cosine 5x sine x equals 0.5. Well, it's not very obvious, but you can sine times cosine minus cosine times sine. Wait, it looks very, very familiar. Is that sine alpha minus beta, which is the sine alpha cosine beta minus cosine alpha sine beta? It looks just like this, right? Sine alpha cosine beta minus cosine alpha sine beta. So I should get a sine of alpha minus beta. So the whole left term is actually sine 4x, and that equals 0.5. So I can just go ahead to take the inverse function, or because this is just 1/2, I shouldn't do that. Again, I'm sorry that I forgot to put this is a 0 and 2 pi. And for 4 pi, that's going to be 0 less than or equal to 4 pi less than 8 pi for x. So that means for sine equals 1/2. So I get here and I get here, right? So between 0 and 2 pi, I have two solutions. Between 0 and 8 pi, so I should have like an 8 solution. So my 4x will become, it's very, very tricky, okay? So that will become here, that's pi over 6, and this is pi over 6, and this is a 5 pi over 6. Okay, that's one. And then I get a 2 pi plus pi over 6, 2 pi plus 5 pi over 6, 4 pi plus pi over 6, 4 pi plus 5 pi over 6, and a 6 pi plus pi over 6, and a 6 pi plus 5 pi over 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I get eight of them, and then I just go ahead and divide it by 4. So my answer is, I don't really have, let me just take a little piece of paper here to get the answer. Therefore, my x becomes, I will divide it by 4. So I get a pi over 24, and I get a 5 pi over 24. Okay, then I get, this is 2 pi plus pi over 6, that's 12 plus 1, so it's a 13 pi over 24. And this is 2 times 6, 12, so that's 17 pi over 24, more 25 pi over 24. And here is going to be 29 pi over 24, and two more. So this is a 36 or 37. So that's a 30. Oh, let me just get a little bit of space. So 37 pi over 24, and this is the 41 pi over 24. I'm sorry for this terrible handwriting, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 solutions for this question. This is interesting. This one you cannot see very clearly, but if you're kind of familiar with the look of all the formulas that we have earlier, then you should be okay to do it. Okay, let me see. Do we need to do one more? Yes, let's do just one more. Okay, that's number 10. Which is 6 cosine 2 theta equals 9 sine square theta minus the 4. You can reduce power to change that. Of course, that way might not help too much, but you can just use the double angle formula. And again, here is a sine square, so that becomes a 6. Here is a 1 minus twice of sine square theta equals 9 sine square theta minus 4. So I get a 6 minus 12 sine square theta, okay, equals 9 sine square theta minus 4. Okay, so I move all the sine theta to one side and the numbers to the other side. So this one, if you add 12, you get a 21. And if you add 4, you get 10. Let me just switch the left and the right side. So I get a 21 sine theta square equals 10. So my sine square theta equals 10 over 21. Okay, so sine theta will be, if I put my theta, I forgot to mention that, I just do that. Okay, so that will be, I will use the root 10, 21, or minus 10, 21. All right, now let me pull out the calculator here. Okay. So I would do this, 10 divided by 21, and which is inside here, and then I take square root of it. So that's 0.69. All right, so that is 0.69 or negative 0.69. Now, how do you get a theta? I go sine, right? Sine inverse thing. So my theta equals 0.76. And for that one, if you forgot, then you can do 0.69 negative. You change that and then sine inverse of it. You see that you get a negative 0.69. Okay, but the problem is this: we will not use negative angle. The angle has to be between 0 and 2 pi. So if I have a sine is 0.69 and a negative 69, I get 4 solutions, isn't it? So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one I know. So once you know this one, once you know the first theta, the second theta will be pi minus 0.76. Okay, and the third one is going to be pi plus 0.76. Pi plus. And the last one is going to be 2 pi minus 0.76. So you only need to find these 4 solutions. So my theta, in this case, I don't know why suddenly my x becomes a theta, but that's okay. So I would take a pi as a 3.14 minus 0.76. So I have 0.76, I have a 2.38, and I have a 3.90, okay, or I get a, what is that? So I get a 3.14, so I have 5.52. All those 4 numbers are my solutions to this one. So that is my last question. I think 10 should be plenty for you to understand how to solve the trig equation. All right, good luck.